Hi, it's Danny, and I'm back with another video. I hope that y'all are doing well today. Today is the first day of June, and it's raining outside, and so what better than to make a video? So, this is kind of like a 6-month update. Y'all, I'm sorry about the glare. I have blue light blocking glasses. All of them are like that, and they just are really bad with the light. So, such as life, I'm sorry. But I am back with a 6-month update of like my nursing RN journey. So if you don't know, I am a telemetry or cardiac med-surg nurse. I actually one of those weird nurses that like med-surg, so yeah. And so today I'm just going to be talking to you about some things that I've learned over my 6 months, some things that have helped me, and things like that, of that nature. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, so let's just hop into it. So the hospital that I work for, we have like a year-long fellowship program because we are combined with ICU and step down, because basically that's the tier. So we float to those often. We usually get patients that are med surg, because being a cardiac tele med surg nurse, I can't do nothing with no vent but call respiratory. Like there's just certain things that are not in my field, and that's okay, because I know I'm gonna call somebody. But we have like a year-long fellowship program. You did 10 to 12 weeks with a preceptor. Half was on days and half was on nights. So that was really good. I had amazing preceptors. Day shift always had fewer nurses, but they were busy in a different sense. And night shift had a different element. We had like an extra patient, but it wasn't the hustle and bustle of daytime. But it is also weird because it's like you have fewer resources truly at night. So I finished, and I think January I was kind of like on my own. In my first week, I was like, wow. My first night, I remember I had 2 patients back to back that were getting meds every other hour because they were in that much pain. One had 2 chest tubes, and one, she literally had like days to live. They were like, sis only got days. So we are just literally, she is on comfort care. Just keep her as comfortable as possible, and nothing was helping her. Like, she was that far advanced in her sickness that like nothing was helping her at all. And I was like, what? Y'all trusted me to take care of her? And I think your first year, you really have that imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is like, you don't know what you're doing, you're not good enough, you're not competent enough, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this. And so I have learned to do these things that have helped me, and I'm going to share them with you, because I think that a lot of times people get into nursing and then you hear all the negatives, but it's like sometimes it's just systems. It's just making things work for you to help you a little bit better. I made a short about this where I was talking about your first year is not really about what type of unit you're on, but more about the people that you're around and the nurses that you're with. The nurses that I work with, phenomenal. There is not one nurse on the floor that I think that I would be like, you could never touch me or my family, ever. Not one. They are all very, very good. They are all very caring and compassionate, and just they know their stuff, and that's what I really, really like. And so basically, I'm just going to share some things that have helped me as a new grad, that have made me feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more independent, if you will. So the first thing, I wrote these down. The first thing is to ask questions, right? Ask questions, because sometimes like you need to talk things out with people, and people can see things, or they might know something that they've seen before that you were not thinking of. And that's just not even as a new grad. Even some of the more experienced nurses will turn to me and they'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? So just ask questions. One of our charge nurses has been a nurse for like 10 years. And the other day she turned around and was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I was like, girl, why are you asking me? But then I realized she was like, one, as a new grad, sometimes you have a different perspective on things, but 2, like, you know more than you think you know. So talk it out. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I know it can be kind of daunting, because sometimes you're like, oh, I feel like I should know this. Oh, I feel like, No, ask. It's better to ask than just assume, for sure. So the other night, maybe not at night because the hospitalists at night don't necessarily know much about that patient. But you can still ask them questions because I do all the time. So my second tip, have an actual brain sheet. I know the old school nurses and the seasoned nurses, they write everything down on just like a little white sheet of paper and they just be going and you be like, okay, do you want me to stop and slow down? They're like, nope, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Have a brain sheet because one, when you get report, it helps you stay organized because there's sometimes where people like forget you like, oh, where's their access? Or how do they ambulate? Is there anything else? Is there a plan for this patient? Stuff like that you can kind of look at and give yourself a reference of like, oh, I didn't get this information and this is pretty important. So have a brain sheet. If writing everything down on a piece of paper works for you, then great for you. But there are nurse report sheets. I have a few. There were some that were made. I will email them to you. If you tell me in the comments down below that you need a report sheet, I'll email it to you. Just let me know. And I will definitely email it to you because it can help you stay organized and keep everything in track. And then it's like the same thing for each patient. So it's easy for you to give report and to get report. Like piggybacking on that, write your meds down. So I have this sheet. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's like a nurse hourly to-do list and you can put multiple patients. I'm sorry, I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, you can put multiple patients on this one sheet and it kind of keeps you organized. If not, you can write it down on a sheet of paper and you write your hours. This keeps me so organized and it helps me manage my time, especially because normally we are a 6-to-1. And so 6 patients, that's a lot for one person. So if you're scrambling and you don't want to forget meds, especially like blood thinners, if they're in AFib, stuff like that, you want to make sure that you can stay as organized as possible. If you want this sheet, I'll email it to you as well. You let me know. But that has really, really helped me kind of stay organized and stay focused. And I know a lot of, not even new nurses, but a lot of nurses that I know use something like that to keep them on track. So another thing, and this probably is about to sound so simple and so like, duh, flush your IVs. After meds, before meds, the whole 9 yards. Flush them, okay? Because sometimes patients will like accidentally pull them out or they'll hit them, just all types of things. They become uncomfortable. They're not really in a vein type situation thing. So you definitely don't want to harm a patient by pushing something through and then now it's on their muscle and it can cause them harm, truly. So flush your IVs, make sure that they are patent, just little stuff like that. Because I know people are gonna be like, well, duh, that's obvious, but sometimes you assume that the person before you did it. Just flush them, especially you need them in codes to press, to push your meds through. Also, you don't want to be trying to place an IV on a person, especially if they're a hard stick, when literally seconds and minutes matter. Like, just have that. That's probably the first thing that I do. I literally carry flushes in my pocket. That's one of the first things that I do when I come on shift is get alcohol pads and flush. And so the next tip that somebody actually told me this, is don't pick up a ton of bonus shifts. I know. I don't know everybody's financial situation, and it's easier said than done to be like, don't pick up all this extra shifts when, it's like almost, they're like giving it away in a sense, right? Because it looks good. It feels real good when it hits your bank account. And you're like, ooh, I got a little extra. I can put this in savings. I can invest this. Do whatever. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. And sometimes when you work 5-6 days in a row, you just are not the best version of yourself in any field like that is taxing and trying. So if you can, maybe split it up, or you do, one bonus shift like this pay period and then another bonus shift this pay period, or whatever the case may be, because just picking up constantly, you will most definitely probably get burnt out. And I think it's so easy to get burnt out because it's definitely a combination of physical labor, mental labor. You are constantly kind of always on unless you're on a break. So definitely, if you can, try not to pick up a ton of bonus shifts. And then just going off of that, make sure you take care of yourself. I think that this profession draws in a lot of people who they like to pour into others. They like to do things for others, but sometimes forget about ourselves. So make sure, you know, that you're scheduling massages for yourself if you need it. You are going to the gym. You are making the time to meal prep. And if you can't meal prep, if you want to go ahead and buy a meal subscription service, things like that, take a walk, all the things, because for sometimes you are everything to everybody for that 12 hours, or you might be everything to just one patient. When patients don't have family and they're scared, or, you know, they have a ton of questions, or they're just lonely, that is taxing and can be very taxing mentally, emotionally, all the things. When you lose a patient, it's hard, and then you have to go into the next room and act like nothing is wrong and just care for that patient. So just make sure that you're pouring back into yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You're not getting anything out of it. So make sure that you are doing the things that you enjoy, the things that make you happy, the things that help you relax in healthy fashions, hopefully. So those are just the things that have kind of been help for me. And let me double back real quick, because this is super, super important. This is not something that I learned being a nurse, but I just feel like I need to say this. Help your techs, help your CNAs, whomever is there to aid with the patients that are doing a lot of their ADLs, help them. Don't be the nurse that's at the station on Zillow the whole night, eating chips, drinking Sprites from the refrigerator. Your tech is sweating, literally having 18 patients, and you kicking it hard. And they're like, oh, well, such and such needs to get clean. And then will you just help me move them up? And you like, tell me when you finished cleaning them. Don't do that. Your techs literally can make or break you. They literally have saved me so many times, and it's crazy. Don't treat them like they're less than. Don't do that to them. All in all, I really enjoy nursing. I think it is a great profession. Like I said, do not get into it for the money. You are going to be highly disappointed. You're going to be highly disappointed. So get into it because you want to help people. Get into it because, you know, this is a passion that you have and that you enjoy. This is something that you'll enjoy because it is very trying. It is taxing. There are days when you are going to get in the car and scream. There are days when you get home and you're going to tell your loved ones, like, I love you. Please don't talk to me. I can't. I'm overstimulated. There are days when you might get into the car and cry. So you are going through just a wave of emotions, and sometimes you are everything for your patients. Sometimes they're scared to be in the hospital by themselves, especially at night. They can't sleep. You know, just be patient, be compassionate, and be kind. You know, try and think about, always try and put myself in their shoes or put my family member in their shoes. Like, how would I want somebody to treat my mom? How would I want somebody to treat my husband? How would I want somebody to treat me? Like, just taking that extra 2 seconds to think about things like that. And yeah, it makes a difference. Another thing that I've learned is that you really have to meet people where they are, as far as medical literacy, right? And take the time to get to know your patients. I know sometimes that is not always feasible. Sometimes you don't have time. For us, a good and bad thing is that a lot of our patients are frequent flyers, so they come back often. So you get to know, you're like, Mr. Jones, what you doing here today? I just saw you a month and a half ago. What's going on? And you can find out that Mr. Jones, the only access to food that he has is Dollar General. And so you can look and find, like, okay, let's get with a nutrition consult, or, you know, let's look up and see some healthy options that we can find at Dollar General, because we don't want you to have too much sodium, because we don't want you to go into fluid overload, blah, 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 and then the whole cycle, and then we're back here again. So really just meeting people where they are, it really is just such a special thing. I encourage you to take the time to do it. Like I said, I know every single shift, you're not gonna be able to do that for every single patient. It's just impossible. Especially like we are 6 to 1 sometimes. It's impossible to go and down the line and ask every single patient, like, okay, so where do you live? Do you walk there? How do you get there? Okay, because if it takes you 45 minutes to get back home, you might not be able to get refrigerated stuff. You might not be able to get frozen stuff, because by the time you get home, it's not good. So just getting to know your patients, that's pretty cool. All in all, I really enjoy nursing. I think it is a great profession. Like I said, do not get into it for the money. You are going to be highly disappointed. You're going to be highly disappointed. So get into it because you want to help people. Get into it because, you know, this is a passion that you have and that you enjoy. This is something that you'll enjoy because it is very trying. It is taxing. There are days when you are going to get in the car and scream. There are days when you get home and you're going to tell your loved ones, like, I love you. Please don't talk to me. I can't. I'm overstimulated. There are days when you might get into the car and cry. So you are going through just a wave of emotions, and sometimes you are everything for your patients. Sometimes they're scared to be in the hospital by themselves, especially at night. They can't sleep. You know, just be patient, be compassionate, and be kind. You know, try and think about, I always try and put myself in their shoes, or put my family member in their shoes. Like, how would I want somebody to treat my mom? How would I want somebody to treat my husband? How would I want somebody to treat me? Like, so yeah, let me know what you did your first year, your first 6 months. And I'll be honest, I'm still not 100% confident. I'm like, oh man, I still got questions. But that's okay. I feel like this is an ever like evolving profession where you are going to constantly learn. Every patient is not going to be the same. Even if they have the same diagnosis, they're not going to present the same. They may not react the same way. So it's okay. Just continue to be the great nurse that you are. Continue to have integrity. Continue to, you know, advocate for your patients the best way that you can. And be there for them, but also show up for yourself. I have a really good friend. She's been a nurse for years. And she's like, I don't think you ever really get over it. The imposter syndrome. You just eventually feel like, I got better today. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you know anything that has helped you your first year, or you really were like, ooh, I hated this my first year, this is something that I did, and then after my second year I realized, no, this is not for me, please let me know in the comments down below. I truly appreciate you taking the time to watch this. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Next time will not be a nursing video probably though, so I'll see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.